observations or analysis about the movie entitled Like Stars on Earth by Amir Khan. Like stars on Earth, every child is special. Good day to our very kind and understanding instructor, Ma'am Akeline Abrasaldo Dalieda Campus. Good day everyone. I am Kenneth Imagbato, a third-year BS Ed English student, and today, I will be sharing to you my observations about the story entitled Like Stars on Earth by Amir Khan. The story revolves around the character of a 9-year-old boy named Ishan who happens to have a problem in his development. He has this what we commonly refer to as dyslexia or learning disorder that involves difficulty reading due to problems identifying speech sounds and learning how they relate to letters and words. Additionally, dyslexia is a result of individual differences in areas of the brain that process language. This is a very serious problem that a learner may experience in his learning journey. As future educators, we have to understand this particular problem and look for possible solutions in dealing and mending this. Now, going back to the movie, we can see in the beginning part of the story, particularly in the introduction, referring to a scene where the teacher would call names along with their students' scores. Ishan always have these failing scores, and these are signified with his scores resulting 4 over 25 and 2 over 25 on the other day of their quiz or exam. These low scores are enough to indicate that Ishan is really struggling in his life as a student. In the story, we can see a lot of characters that played a huge impact on the behavior and the development of Ishan, from his parents down to the people he encounters in school and in their community as a whole. Most of the time, teachers would initially scold him for not paying attention to the class, and whenever he reacts in a very displeasing manner towards these types of disciplinary actions, teachers would immediately send him out of the classroom. To be completely honest, at first, I also felt madness with how this child behaved and responded to all these things. Who would not, right? On my end, I feel like he is also accountable of the consequences that he encounters. It sounds like he deserves all these consequences for all of his misbehaving attitude. Undeniably, Ishan exudes a lot of traits that are very unlikable, such as being disobedient, lazy, and not paying attention to certain matters like in taking commands. Along the story, unfortunately, he made a very terrible mistake that would turn his life upside down. At a very young age, he was sent and transferred to a boarding school which he never desired or wanted to become part of in the very first place. He wanted to be with his parents and he even promised to do his best just so he won't be sent away. Regardless of him begging them, convincing them that he wants to be with his family and promised to do better, his father's decision was totally fixed. His father has finally decided to send him to another school, thinking that later on, or sooner or later, Ishan will progress if discipline at its finest will be inflicted on him. Perhaps, one of the best options in the order to deal with this type of learners is really to inflict discipline. However, this approach was not suitable for Ishan. We can tell that he was sad, terrified, and depressed. The excitement in his eyes was no longer there. His love for painting was no longer there too. His excitement to talk with his family was slowly vanishing. He was starting to feel helpless at that time. In this particular part of the movie, I have also come into a realization that whenever a learner is demotivated, he or she tends to perform less in every task in the school. In line with this, when a learner fails to perform at her or his best, he or she is more likely to fail in all the subjects. We all know that failure may result to serious problems. It can affect our emotions and mental stability. Failure on students has two main negative effects on their life. First is recruitment of difficulties so hard making a family. And second is the psychological effect which causes them to feel of inferiority and fear of failure. A demotivated learner tend to lose focus on his or her personal goals, making their lives harder in the future. In this part of the movie, where Ishan seems very helpless and depressed, I was already alarmed with what may possibly happen to him, considering that he is very young for all of these struggles. Adding to that is the fact that no one sees his potential. Instead, people would see him as dumb and helpless learner. At that time, I was really hoping that someone will come and save him from this tormenting situation. Luckily, a teacher with a good heart came to his life. A teacher named Ramnikum who cares for his learners and would exert effort in keeping them motivated with their studies. Since then and until the last part of the story, this particular teacher became a very huge contributor in the development of Ishan. This part of the movie has made me realize that we can be just like as caring as Teacher Ram. We can show extra time and effort in helping our learners. Based on the movie, we can suggest that many people will never understand a learner's condition unless one can relate and perhaps have been sharing the same situation or experience from the past. Thus, it is a reminder for us to be gentle and really look for a much deeper reason for all these things. Perhaps all these direct judgments or first impressions we have are totally unacceptable and immoral. We might put as well into consideration the fact that there are things that we cannot immediately detect or identify. Each one of us go through different problems, and sometimes we suffer from them without urgent response or help from the people that surrounds. So I suggest we think first before doing something that might make things worse, just because we let our madness overrun our emotions and actions. As parents as well, we have to maintain a constant consultation with our children just to make sure that we are able to trace important things encompassing their development. Parents must render double or even triple observation on their children. Day by day, we have to ask how their day went. Adding to that, we also have to appreciate the achievements they have. Commending them is very crucial in making them feel good and at the same time inspired to keep doing better things. Unlike with what the father did in the movie, he was very complacent of all the decisions he had made for his son. Although the intention was for Ishan's betterment, we cannot deny that it didn't suit the real need of Ishan. Instead, it made Ishan's situation even worse and sorrowful. As parents, we are expected to be the first ones to recognize the problems of our children and try to consider their emotions or mental state prior in making decisions for them. As part of the community, as classmates, we must not bully these types of learners because they have to be understood first. They go through difficulty in learning and bullying will only increase the negative impact to them. Instead, we can help them by making friends with them and help them as much as we can. We can help them with their assignments or perhaps we can teach them with the things that they find difficult. It's really just a matter of developing empathy towards these types of learners. We have to somehow foresee ourselves in their shoes in order for us to realize what it's like to be in their situation, to know how it feels to keep going in life despite the various factors that are pulling away our motivation to succeed. The movie indeed exemplifies a factual idea that not all learners are the same. Some are able to read and write in a normal or natural way. some are advanced, and sadly, some are slow learners just like Ishan and other students that have dyslexia. As future educators, it is a challenge for us to widen our understanding and increase our patience. We have to always remind ourselves that our learners are completely different in terms of their preferred way of learning. Each of them are unique. They have different potential, and we cannot simply just judge them because they are weak at some areas or certain aspects. It is our constant goal to help them achieve their dreams in life, making sure that we guide them as they take a step towards success. Lastly, the movie would love us to know that as future educators, we can be just like Teacher Ram. We can make a significant change in the lives of these children, despite the factors that hinder their learning, because I believe that just like stars on earth, every child is special. That would be all for my analysis, and thank you for listening.